Do you feel it? That subtle, constant weight on your shoulders. That gnawing sense of obligation, that suffocating feeling of being trapped, even when no visible chains bind you. You look around at your life, and on the surface, you see undeniable freedom. Countless choices, endless opportunities, the ability to move and speak as you please, to pursue what society calls success. Yet, deep down, in the quiet moments of introspection, you might sense a profound, unsettling captivity, an invisible limitation that holds you back from truly living, from truly breathing, from truly becoming the sovereign man you know, in your deepest core, you could be. This feeling, this unseen cage, this psychological burden is not a coincidence. It is a harsh reality for most men. And I am here to tell you, with the sharp, unblinking clarity of ancient wisdom, that this prison is not built by external forces, not by society's demands, not by the cruel hand of circumstance or the whims of others. No, this prison, my friend, is one most men meticulously, unknowingly, and perhaps even willingly, construct for themselves, brick by invisible brick, desire by insidious desire. And the great Roman Stoic philosopher, Seneca, a man who navigated the treacherous courts of emperors and faced both immense fortune and crushing exile, saw its invisible walls, its self-forged shackles, with chilling, unmistakable clarity. Think about your own life, about the hidden burdens you carry, the unseen masters you serve. Is it the relentless, never-ending pursuit of more money, a desperate, breathless chase for wealth that promises ultimate freedom but, paradoxically, delivers only deeper enslavement to the demands of acquisition and maintenance? You believe you are building security, but are you truly building a gilded cage? Is it the insatiable hunger for status, for recognition, for the fleeting applause of others that ties you irrevocably to their opinions, their judgments, and their unpredictable whims? You become a slave to their gaze, dancing for their approval. Or perhaps it's the endless craving for pleasure, for fleeting distractions, for constant comfort and effortless ease that makes you soft, weak, and utterly dependent on external gratification, always seeking the next hit, never truly satisfied. You are like a wingless creature crawling in circles, perpetually seeking something outside yourself to feel whole. Or maybe, most insidiously, it's the suffocating grip of fear, the paralyzing fear of failure, the crushing fear of judgment, the consuming fear of loss, the gnawing fear of simply not being enough. These are the invisible bars, the self-forged shackles, the psychological chains that bind your spirit. They promise satisfaction, security, or happiness, but they deliver only deeper layers of anxiety, persistent dissatisfaction, and profound unfreedom. You are perpetually reacting to desires you cannot truly quench, to fears you cannot escape, to external validations you can never fully control. This is not liberation. It's a profound, self-inflicted imprisonment, a complex psychological cage that most men inhabit their entire lives without ever truly recognizing its true architects, without ever naming the wardens of their own soul. Now, let us turn our gaze to Lucius Annaeus Seneca, the illustrious Roman Stoic philosopher, statesman, and playwright. He lived a life of immense wealth, profound power, and vast influence, serving as an advisor to emperors, experiencing both incredible triumph and devastating exile, even facing death himself. He walked among the powerful, saw the corrupting allure of unchecked power, witnessed the profound emptiness of limitless riches, and understood the deceptive, enervating nature of constant comfort. And through it all, through every peak and every valley of human experience, he came to a profound, liberating understanding of true freedom, a freedom found not in external circumstances, not in material possessions, not in social standing, but in the complete, unwavering mastery of one's inner world, one's own mind. Seneca understood, with a chilling clarity few possess, that the most formidable, the most inescapable prisons are not those with stone walls and iron bars, visible and tangible, but those meticulously constructed, brick by invisible brick, within our own minds. forged from our unchecked desires and our misguided, tenacious attachments to what lies outside of our true control. This insight is not merely academic. It is a profound blueprint for liberation. What were the core principles that allowed Seneca to diagnose this universal human malady, this self-imposed captivity, and offer a clear, arduous, yet undeniably potent path to liberation? First, there was his radical, uncompromising understanding of desire as a fundamental form of enslavement. You, like most men, likely believe you are free because you have the apparent ability to pursue what you want, to chase your cravings, to fulfill your fleeting impulses. But Seneca, with his piercing insight, would argue with absolute conviction that if your happiness, your contentment, your very peace of mind depends entirely on acquiring something outside of yourself, whether it's more money, a new, shiny possession, a higher promotion, the fleeting approval of someone else, or a specific romantic outcome, then you are not free. You are, in essence, a slave to that desire. Your mood, your actions, your very sense of self-worth become dictated, controlled, perpetually influenced by an external object or an external outcome. The less you need, the freer you become. The more you crave, the tighter the chains. This principle applies to every craving that pulls you outside of yourself, every external longing that dictates your internal state. The craving for boundless luxury makes you a slave to money, to the whims of the market, to the constant need for accumulation. The craving for reputation, for public acclaim, for social validation makes you a slave to public opinion, to the fickle judgments of the crowd, to the constant performance of a role. The craving for endless pleasure, for fleeting distractions, for constant comfort and effortless ease makes you a slave to your senses, constantly chasing the next fleeting high, perpetually seeking external stimuli to avoid the discomfort of your own thoughts, never truly satisfied, always wanting more. How often do you find yourself exhausted, restless, anxious, filled with a hollow ache, not because of what you don't have, but because of what you constantly crave, what you perpetually chase? This ceaseless craving, this internal hunger for the external, is the tireless jailer, keeping you on a perpetual, exhausting treadmill of dissatisfaction, always moving, never arriving. You believe you are chasing happiness, chasing fulfillment, but you are merely tightening the chains of dependence, building ever higher, ever thicker walls around your own soul, sealing yourself deeper into your self-made confinement. Second, Seneca understood, with chilling precision, the corrosive, destructive power of fear and anxiety as insidious internal tyrants. We, as human beings, spend an astonishing amount of our lives dreading what might happen, worrying about what we might lose, or agonizing over what others might think of us. This fear, Seneca powerfully argued, is often far more painful, far more debilitating than the actual event it anticipates. It is a constant, self-inflicted torment, a pervasive shadow that follows you everywhere you go, even into your supposed moments of peace, even into your dreams. The man who fears poverty is, in essence, already poor, even when his coffers are full and his bank account is vast, because his mind is shackled by the specter of lack. The man who fears death dies 1,000 times in his imagination before his body ever takes its last breath, living a life of constant dread. This constant state of apprehension, this perpetual worry about what could go wrong, is a deep, cold, isolating cell, chilling your spirit, draining your vitality, and paralyzing your action. It prevents you from fully living in the present moment, from taking necessary, bold risks, from speaking your unvarnished truth, from truly experiencing the joy and spontaneity of existence. You become a prisoner of your own imagination, haunted by phantoms of future misfortune that may never materialize, that are merely constructs of your worried mind. This fear of suffering, this anxiety about potential loss or what could possibly go wrong, binds you more tightly, more inescapably, than any physical restraint could ever manage. It keeps you small, cautious, perpetually looking over your shoulder, unable to fully commit to life. You are simply not free if your decisions, your choices, your entire life's direction are dictated by what you dread, rather than by what you truly value, what you truly aspire to be. Third, and perhaps the most powerful key to breaking free, Seneca passionately championed the profound concept of inner sufficiency, or autarkeia. True, unassailable freedom, he taught, comes from the revolutionary realization that your ultimate well-being, your profound happiness, your deep peace of mind, your very sense of worth, resides entirely within your own control, in your judgments, your reactions, your character, your mind itself. It doesn't depend on external circumstances, on the fickleness of fortune, on the approval of others, or on the unpredictable actions of other people. If you can be content with what you have, right now, in this moment, if you can find peace and serenity in your own mind, if you can consciously choose how you react to every external event, every challenge, every perceived setback, then no one, and absolutely nothing, can truly enslave you. This, my friend, is the ultimate escape from the self-built prison. It means understanding, deeply and viscerally, that the only thing you truly own, the only thing that cannot be taken from you by any force, by any turn of fate, is your inner self, your rationality, your virtue, your choice of how to respond. This is where your unbreakable fortress lies. The more you derive your worth and your happiness from external sources, your bank account, your material possessions, your social reputation, your romantic relationships, your achievements, the more vulnerable you become. For these things are all on loan from fortune. They can be given, and they can be taken away. But your character, your wisdom, your courage, your ability to choose, your response to life, these are fundamentally yours, eternally, unassailable. This profound shift in perspective liberates you from the endless chase, from the constant, gnawing fear, from the suffocating prison of external validation. You cease to be a puppet of circumstance and become the master of your own soul. Seneca, through his personal, tumultuous life experience, knew these truths deeply, not just as abstract ideas. He himself accumulated vast wealth and held high positions in Rome, often at the very pinnacle of power, yet he constantly practiced radical detachment from these very things. He would, it is famously said, live simply, occasionally eating coarse bread and water, enduring cold, sleeping on hard ground, specifically to remind himself that he could be content with little, that true happiness was not inextricably tied to luxury or external comfort. He embraced moments of public disgrace and devastating exile not as personal tragedies to be lamented, but as invaluable opportunities to practice his philosophy, to test his inner strength, to prove to himself that his peace was not dependent on his external status or fortune. He viewed these hardships, these bad turns of fate, not as punishments, but as rigorous exercises, as moments where the invisible bars of the self-built prison could be systematically dismantled, piece by painful piece. Through conscious effort, he saw the chains of dependence and opinion, on money, on power, on pleasure, on fear, and he systematically worked to break them, not by rejecting these things entirely from his life, but by rejecting his enslavement to them. He lived his philosophy, demonstrating through his very existence that genuine, unassailable liberation comes not from having nothing, but from profoundly needing nothing external for your core happiness. He knew, with absolute certainty, that the man who wants nothing is truly rich beyond all measure, and the man who fears nothing is truly powerful beyond all earthly kings. He chose to be the owner of his own soul, the emperor of his inner domain, not a prisoner of his possessions, his fears, or his ambition. So, if these hidden chains are what most men meticulously forge for themselves, what does this Socratic wisdom, this Stoic clarity, this profound insight into self-imprisonment build within you when you choose to embrace it, when you consciously begin the arduous work of dismantling it? How does recognizing and systematically breaking down this self-made prison make you stronger, more formidable, more genuinely free, more truly alive? This is where the profound, transformative power of Seneca's teaching reveals itself, where the invisible walls crumble, and true, unadulterated power emerges from within. First, understanding desire as enslavement brings an unparalleled clarity of purpose and relentless action. When you begin to consciously detach from the endless, exhausting craving for more, for external validation, for fleeting pleasures, for the next distraction, your mind, once cluttered with incessant demands, clears with astonishing speed. The incessant, distracting noise of "I want," "I need," "I must have" quiets dramatically. This allows you to see with crystalline precision what truly matters, what genuinely aligns with your deepest values and your highest potential, what is truly worth pursuing. You stop chasing ephemeral shadows, endlessly pursuing what will never truly satisfy, and you begin pursuing genuine substance, meaningful purpose. Your vital energy, once scattered, fragmented, and wasted across countless unfulfilling desires, becomes concentrated, focused, powerful, a laser beam directed at your true north. This newfound clarity allows you to act with surgical precision, to make choices that serve your long-term growth, your deepest purpose, your ultimate vision, rather than being dictated by momentary whims or external pressures. You stop running on a hamster wheel, perpetually chasing, perpetually restless, and you start walking a deliberate, conscious, meaningful path. This liberation from endless, insatiable want sets you free to truly do what matters, to truly create what lasts, to truly become who you are meant to be. Second, confronting and mastering your fears, those internal tyrants, transforms them from insidious chains into sources of immense courage and unshakable resilience. When you consciously cease to be a prisoner of apprehension, of dread, of the paralyzing thought of what might happen, of what you might lose, you reclaim your inherent power. You realize, with profound clarity, that fear is often a projected illusion, a mental construct, a phantom that binds you far more tightly than any real present danger ever could. By practicing voluntary discomfort, by intentionally facing small, manageable fears, by consciously contemplating and accepting the worst-case scenario, the premeditatio malorum, you systematically strip fear of its debilitating power. This builds an unassailable inner fortress of resilience. You learn, through direct experience, that setbacks are not crushing defeats, but invaluable opportunities to practice your philosophy, to test your inner strength, to prove to yourself that your peace and happiness are not dependent on external circumstances, on the unpredictable turns of fortune. The man who bravely faces his fear becomes courageous. The man who learns from failure, who sees it as feedback rather than finality, becomes profoundly resilient. This arduous but liberating journey strengthens your will, tempers your spirit, making you unshakable, unyielding, and utterly reliable in the face of any adversity life throws your way. You actively break free from the suffocating cell of caution and step boldly, purposefully, into a life of daring, meaningful action. Third, by rigorously cultivating inner sufficiency, you forge an unbreakable personal sovereignty. This is the ultimate escape, the final liberation. When you realize truly that your core well-being, your profound happiness, your deep sense of worth, truly resides entirely within your own control, in your thoughts, your judgments, your reactions, your character, your inner choices, then absolutely nothing external, no material loss, no external opinion, no cruel twist of fate, can truly touch you, truly enslave you. Your peace becomes unassailable, a quiet, deep reservoir that no external storm can disturb. You are no longer a slave to fortune's unpredictable whims, to the fleeting opinions of others, or to the chaotic, unpredictable nature of external events. This, my friend, is genuine freedom, a state of profound psychological and spiritual liberation. You become the absolute owner of your own soul, the architect of your own emotional landscape, the emperor of your inner domain. This profound, life-altering shift in perspective liberates you from the endless, exhausting chase for external validation, from the constant, gnawing anxiety of loss, from the suffocating, self-built prison of dependency. You become truly rich, not because of what you possess, but because you need little to be content. You become truly powerful, not because of what you command, but because you fear nothing. This inner sovereignty is the bedrock, the granite foundation, upon which a life of true purpose, profound impact, and unshakable authenticity can be built. You are not a candle flickering uncertainly in the capricious winds of external circumstances. You are a mighty lighthouse, unwavering in the fiercest storm, guiding yourself by your own brilliant, inexhaustible internal light. This challenging, often uncomfortable, yet ultimately deeply rewarding path paradoxically leads to immense, quiet peace and a more profound, more authentic connection with reality itself. When you consciously shed the chains of self-imposed desires and groundless fears, you begin to see the world as it truly is, unclouded, undistorted by your cravings or your anxieties. You learn to genuinely appreciate what you have, rather than perpetually longing for what you lack. You engage with life from a place of genuine presence, of deep engagement, rather than perpetual pursuit or anxious avoidance. You become a man of deep, unshakable substance, not defined by external markers of success or fleeting possessions, but by the quiet, radiant, unshakable strength of your character, by the profound peace of your liberated mind. So, my friend, what is your path forward? Can you recognize with brutal honesty the invisible bars of the prison you might be building for yourself? Are you willing to examine the chains of your desires, the high walls of your fears, the constant, draining demands for external validation that keep you from true freedom, from genuine living? I urge you, with the full, uncompromising force of Seneca's timeless wisdom, to confront these internal captors. Begin the arduous yet liberating work of dismantling your self-made prison, brick by painful brick. Commit, with every fiber of your being, to detaching from external outcomes, to mastering your own cravings, to facing your fears head-on, unflinchingly. Practice voluntary discomfort. Seek it out, for it is the exercise that builds resilience. Question every I want, every I need, and every I fear that arises within you. Ask, is this truly essential for my peace? Is this within my control? What does this truly serve? Understand, with a clarity that will set you free, that true wealth lies in needing less, true power in fearing nothing, true freedom in controlling only what is truly, undeniably yours, your mind, your judgments, your reactions, your choices. The reward for this difficult, often solitary journey, this relentless commitment to self-mastery, is a life of profound inner peace, of unwavering autonomy, and of genuine, unassailable power that no external force can touch, that no turn of fortune can diminish. You will no longer be a slave to your desires or a prisoner of your fears. You will no longer be defined by what you have, what you acquire, what others think of you, but by who you are, by the unyielding integrity of your character. You will become the undisputed master of your own domain, the unquestioned emperor of your own soul. The world, in its constant, deceptive whisper, will tell you to chase more, to accumulate endlessly, to fear loss above all else, to seek validation from others, as if it were oxygen. It will tempt you with the illusion of freedom found through endless choice and boundless acquisition, telling you that having everything is being free. But Seneca, that ancient, unyielding sage, who saw through the veils of illusion, with his shocking, liberating wisdom, would tell you, with the raw, undeniable force of irrefutable, timeless truth, want nothing essential, fear nothing fundamental, own your mind completely. He would tell you to stand firm, to sever the invisible chains of attachment, to live a life so consistent, so disciplined, so utterly your own, that nothing external can truly bind you, truly harm your core, truly disturb your peace. Let others scramble in the desperate rat race, perpetually unsatisfied, perpetually anxious. You will walk with quiet dignity, fundamentally content, profoundly free. Let them tremble in their self-made cells of anxiety and fear. You will dwell, unshaken, in the unassailable fortress of your own mind, unburdened and at peace. This is the ultimate path to self-mastery, to living a life of profound meaning and undeniable impact, a life forged in the unyielding fires of inner freedom. Embrace Seneca's clarity. Let it shatter the walls of your invisible prison. Your true freedom, your true power, your true sovereignty awaits.